In today's video, we're going to be taking a closer look at some of the assault rifles that are available in Season 4 of Call of Duty Warzone, and we're going to try and find out if any of them can match up to this. So the first thing we need to do is work out which assault rifles we're going to pit against the Grau. And to do that, I'm taking a look at the damage and the RPM that the gun delivers. So looking at the Grau, it's 42 headshot damage, then 28 no matter where else you hit your opponents, with an RPM of 730. So I wanted to pick assault rifles that matched up to that. And as you can see, I've selected the Kilo, the M13, the CR-56 and the M4A1. Now the Kilo and the M4A1 have exactly the same damage, but the Kilo and the M4 both shoot faster, which I found very interesting. The M13 has a lower damage profile, but because its RPM is higher, that should balance out. And the CR-56 has a much higher damage profile and a much lower RPM. However, rather than looking at lots of numbers on the screen next to each other and it getting a bit jumbled up, I wanted to give each gun a final figure that we could then compare against each other. So to do that, I've taken the mean average of the damage profile for each weapon, and that's because the average player isn't going to be pounding those headshots. They're going to hit them all over the body, so we'll take a mean average there and multiply that by the RPM to give us the final totals in the bottom column. Now, I was very interested to see that out of all 5 of these weapons, the Grau actually has the lowest final number out of all of them, which suggests this shouldn't be the gun that everyone is using. So why are they using it? To answer that question, we're going to look at 2 other factors. We're going to look at damage drop-off, and then we're going to look at recoil. So let's start with the damage drop-off. To truly demonstrate the damage drop-off of each of these weapons, I'm using only the best graphics that are available to me, so hopefully this will help to really paint the picture for you. If we take a look at where each of the guns first starts to drop off, that'll give us a better picture as to why the Grau might be getting picked over other weapons. The M4 will start to drop off first at around the 27 metre mark. The Kilo then comes in at the 30 metre mark. The M13 can reach 32 metres before it starts having any damage drop off. Then you've got the 2 bigger hitters. The Grau won't start dropping off until 34 metres, and the CR-56 won't stop dropping off until quite incredible 40 metres. Of course, that's a much more powerful weapon, so you would expect it to be able to shoot further before the damage starts dropping off. Now, if we take a look at the second point of damage drop off, things get a lot more interesting. So the M13 stays at 32 metres. That means at that point it's had twice as much drop off as any of the other weapons, so it's already at its weakest point at 32 metres. The M4 has increased, so at 45 metres it will start to drop off again. The Kilo managed to reach 50 metres before a further drop off, and then you look at the 2 big weapons in this list. The Grau won't start dropping off again until upwards of 60 to 65 metres, meaning that's what it can be used as the laser from long distance. People often call it their sniper. And then finally we've got the CR-56, and due to the power of this gun it will not get a second drop off. So once you've hit that first point of damage drop off, any shots that you fire past that will stay at the same. So after the first 2 points that we've looked at, the CR-56 is definitely looking like a contender to the Grau. However, there is one further thing to look at, and that is the gun recoil. One of the key reasons that I personally use the Grau is that its recoil is very easy to control. What I'm going to do here is just aim and shoot. I'm not going to try any corrections with my analog stick. I'm just going to aim and shoot, and the recoil will go upwards and slightly to the right. That means it only needs a very small correction in order to keep the gun on its target. And with the Grau, that can be very easy. As you can see here, I can keep it fairly central. There are players out there that do it a lot better than I do. Now let's take a look at the other guns and we'll see how they differ. So here we have all 4 guns that we're comparing it against, and we're just going to shoot with all of them and see what sort of recoil we get. So if we take a freeze frame and take a look at them in a bit more detail, the M13 on the left has a very small recoil. It's also slightly up and to the right. That means if you're used to using the Grau, you may actually be quite good with the M13 if it's a similar correction. The CR-56 is next. It has a slightly larger recoil upwards pattern, but again it's in a similar motion to the Grau, so it shouldn't be too hard to control. The third one along is the Kilo, and I was very surprised by the Kilo. It stayed fairly central without any corrections at all. So I feel like the Kilo might be a gun that can be really useful to use. Then finally, the M4 seemed like the most erratic recoil out of the 5 guns that we tried, but it did go in the same pattern as the Grau, or a similar pattern, and therefore some muscle memory will take effect, and I should be able to control that as well. But let's see how all 4 of these guns compare in gameplay compared to what we saw at the start of the video with the Grau. Just to show you how I set up my kilo class before we go into the gameplay, these are the attachments that I chose to use, and then we've got a little comparison between the stats of the Grau and the kilo in this state, and as you can see, we haven't caught up on any of the stats that might make a difference, but let's see how it performs. The next gun is the M13, and again this is the setup that I've chose to use. A little comparison between the Grau and the M13 stats again, and I'm not liking the look of it. The Grau has higher accuracy, it has much higher range, it has higher control and higher damage. So I'm not hopeful, but let's see how this one does.
I'm gonna try and get track. I can't see the geezer. Oh yeah, I see.
Allow him coming at me, man.
Yep, you want to move in with him. He's down.
He should be down.
I only saw the one though.
Oh,
Might
2
be
in
more.
front of me now. He's seen me, 1 down.
Oh shit.
Nearly
he's
dead.
down.
Oh, fuck
Dead,
off.
they're both dead, they're both dead. Yep, see them.
One on the
down.
right should be down. Yep.
Nice,
Dead.
boys. I'm going to take out whichever one's furthest back.
One down.
1 down. 1 turn around, lasered me. There's only 1 left up there unless they got self-reses.
Yeah.
They're going to have self-reses,
no.
aren't they?
Oh, she's gonna down me, man. Shit. Nice.
Oh, you might
Oh,
go.
I got you covered. There, no, there.
Down, team white.
The penultimate gun is the M4, and these are the attachments that I've gone for this time. As you can see with the stats comparison, they have a very similar shape to them. These are 2 similar guns according to the stats, but let's see how that actually plays out.
Come on, man. Come on.
Hostile dropping into the area.
And finally we have the assault rifle that's made its way into Warzone in Season 4, the CR-56. And this is the gun that I'm most excited to try and see if it can compete with the Grau. I haven't actually got all of the attachments for this gun, so I haven't got my trustworthy monolithic suppressor, but these are the attachments that I'm running. And as you can see, the stats on this one don't make for good reading. A lot of them are less than the Grau, but I'm hopeful that that won't be how it plays out in game.
Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the sky.
So now to summarise what we've just seen, and how I'm going to do that is by ranking the guns on how I think they performed against the Grau at short, mid and long range. So first we've got the Kilo, and I think at short and mid range the Kilo matched up to the Grau no problems. However, at long range I think the Kilo slightly fell short. The M13, however, I think exceeded the Grau at short and mid range, but again fell short when it came to the long range shots. The CR-56 I really did enjoy using, and I will be using that a lot more. And at short range, I think it really did exceed the Grau. It killed a lot faster. However, at mid range, I think it was pretty much the same, maybe a little bit better in some instances, especially if you hit those headshots. But again, at long range, you just can't match the Grau at the moment. And finally, we've got the M4. At short range, again, I think that exceeded it. I think it's a very, very good short range weapon. At mid range, I think it was fairly similar. I didn't see too many differences. And then again, finally, at long range, I don't think it was up to scratch with the Grau. So as none of these guns can match up to the Grau at long range, I don't think it's a viable option to change your setup to not include the Grau. I think it's slightly overpowered in the sense that it can laser at long range, but it's also effective at short and mid range as well. And the reason I don't think any of these four weapons can currently match up to the Grau is because all of them, to be effective at mid to long range, require you to pulse the weapon, whereas the Grau doesn't seem to have that issue. You can just hold your finger down on the trigger, slightly correct with your analog stick or your mouse, and you will stay on your target and absolutely destroy them. However, as you can see from this tweet here, things may be about to change during the mid-season update, and therefore my recommendation from this video is that you start to use the M13 and the CR-56 more and more, as I think that once the Grau gets tweaked and the recoil becomes worse and people start moving away from it, the M13 and the CR-56 are the guns that people will choose to go to, and they will become the new meta. Thank you for watching today's video, and if you did enjoy it, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, as we are a new channel and we'd really like to grow. Thank you.